Hi Mel, I figured I would answer your question with a video because there's a lot of components to this. So with the inner critic, one of the things is that our inner critic really comes up when we are on the precipice of change, and our inner critic is there to keep us safe. It's detrimental to our mental health, and it's not helpful really, but it's our unconscious mind's way of keeping us stuck and safe and small because it may not feel safe to enter this next stage of your healing or change or any of the things that are going on. So when we are on a healing journey, many times it's actually really unsettling for our unconscious and for our different parts of our psyche. And so resistance will come up and the inner critic will come up and judgment will come up because what your mind is kind of hoping to do is to psych you out enough that you stop. Because if you stop, then you can stay exactly where you are right now, which even though it is miserable, or you may not be miserable, but just uncomfortable, whatever it is, it's not what you want, where you want to be, it's familiar. And familiarity equals safety and survival. And since our nervous system and our brain are really here to operate and keep us alive at all costs, that's the only goal that they have, not happiness, just to keep us alive and surviving. It'll do anything it can to keep us stuck, including having a gnarly inner critic that just pops up out of nowhere and is like, you suck, you can't do this, you're not consistent, you're never going to heal, this is dumb, whatever it is that's coming up. I actually want you to identify that as fear. And not actually that you're doing anything wrong, but more so that somewhere inside of you, there's a part of you that feels unsafe to change. And maybe that's because when you change, you know that you're going to have to address things that are uncomfortable. You may have to set boundaries with people that scare you. You may have to make your voice and needs known, which may be for the first time something that you're doing. And it can be like, whoa, I don't know how to do that. So with these changes, although we're doing simple things, these 5 tasks in this challenge, it's really bringing up for many of us our unconscious mind's need to control and to keep us safe and small and stuck in the same place so that we don't experience potentially worse pain. Because to our brain and our unconscious and our body, it's like what we know, what's familiar is safe, even if it's like something you hate and it's not good, versus whatever else is out there. Almost like the better the devil you know than the devil you don't kind of situation. So it's our job as conscious beings to wrangle our own mind and to recognize that that's not really us speaking. Externalize the inner critic. I like to give it a name. For a while I was calling it Karen, but then I felt bad calling it Karen for all the other Karens out there who are not like mean people. So I changed it. So, you can call it like I don't know, like a beast, or you can call it like, you can give it a name. It doesn't even have to be anything like a human name. It could be like just a name in general that you name your inner critic, and take it outside of you and actually ask your inner critic, what are you here to protect me from? What are you here to keep me safe from? And actually inviting it in and asking it to sit down and have a cup of tea with you almost will help you get rid of it. So don't push it away, don't listen to it, don't attach to it, but rather go almost like an activated child. What do you need? What are you afraid of? What actually is the underlying thing here that is keeping me from feeling safe enough to expand to this next level? So I like the reframing, right, which I think was suggested, which is like when you have your inner critic thought come up, you reframe it into something more positive and supportive. Like if something comes up like, oh, you're a failure, you suck at this, you can just change that into, I'm learning and growing and trying, and I'm not perfect, but I'm making progress, and that's okay. And that's really helpful. But the most helpful thing I found is actually externalizing your inner critic into a alternative being that's outside of you, and then just communicating with it. And that way you can actually take it away from yourself. You don't attach to the feelings or the thoughts or anything that's coming up. You kind of just notice it and you're like, oh, what are you here to tell me, Karen? Like, what do you want? What do you hear? Why are you here? Get out of here. Or like, come on in, like, talk to me, what's going on? And if you do this kind of gentle self-exploration and talk in your mind or even out loud to your inner critic and have a conversation and reassure them that you're safe and that these changes are going to be really good for you, you'll watch it go away. Because again, it comes from a place of fear. It comes from a place of your unconscious mind wanting to encourage you to stay in the same place because it's familiar and safe. And again, even if the familiar place is causing you pain, it still sees it as being better than something new. And so we have to then retrain ourselves to feel safe stepping into the new expansion and and it can be easier said than done, but I think externalizing and creating a character for your inner critic and then keeping them outside of yourself has been really helpful for me. So just a lot of self-compassion, maybe journal tonight and like draw out a character and like name your inner critic, and just start really imagining that as being an outside entity that is just there to give you information about what you need to do to feel safe to move forward. So I hope that was helpful. Sending you a hug.